One of my favorite books in the library is Casey at the Bat, a ballad of the Republic sung in the year 1888. This is a poem that was written by Ernest Thayer, and the illustrations are by C.F. Payne. It reminds me of spring and baseball. I love it. Right? Please enjoy. Casey at the Bat. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 4-2 with but one inning more to play. And then Cooley died at first, and Barrows did the same. A pall-like silence fell upon the patrons of that game. A straggling few got up to go deep in despair. The rest clung to the hope in springs eternal in the human breast. They thought, only if Casey could get a whack at that. We put up even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, as also Jimmy Blake, and the former was a hoodoo, while the latter was a cake. So upon the stricken multitude grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey getting to the bat. But Flynn let drive a single, to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted and the men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second and Flynn a huggin' third. Then from 5,000 throats and more there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dell. It pounded on the mountain and recoiled upon the flat. For Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile lit Casey's face. And when, responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat, no stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. Then, while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance flashed in Casey's eye, a sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a watch in its haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped. "That ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said. From the benches, black with people, there went a muffled roar, like the beating of storm waves on a stern and distant shore. "Kill him! Kill the umpire!" someone shouted in the stands, and likely they'd kill him, had not Casey raised his hands. With a smile of Christian charity great, Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult. He bade the games go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more done the spear flew. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, "Strike two." "Fraud!" cried maddening thousands, and echoes answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain. And they knew Casey wouldn't let the ball go by again. The sneer is gone from Casey's lip. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounded with cruel violence his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball. And now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in this favored land the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out. Thanks for reading with me today. Have a nice day.
Got a blast!